If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Are there any public comments?
Yes, sir. If I might, what we're going to see in this package today, where last year the hot tax collections exceeded the property tax collections in terms of dollars for the city. And I just wanted to, that's probably not going to be the case this year with the increase in property values, but it's just a point that I think that needs to be understood by the importance of what this group does for the community. And we have a great responsibility to provide for this community and what goes on, and I just think that it becomes incumbent upon us to remember how important the position we're in is. And so I just wanted to make mention of that this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Any other public comments?
I have several.
Thank you.
First, I want to start off with saying hot collections, I should have a final number probably tomorrow, but right now we are at about 929,000 collected for the month of April.
Versus?
974. So I'm confident that we'll pass that. So 2019 numbers, just to compare, is 630. So we've already passed that number. I also wanted to, of course, everybody knows here, but whoever's listening, the CVB director, we have found a CVB director, which we are super excited for. Mr. Blake Henry comes to us from Kentucky, and his start date is June 27. So since we were given the notice, we have internally, the team and I have been planning for his arrival. We've been going over the marketing plan, doing an onboarding for him so that we can catch him up pretty quick, because I need him to run with me. And we've also started a 30, 60, 90-day plan on what staff is wanting to, work with him. So I think we're being very proactive in that. I also wanted to share a little bit of bad news. With the recent rain and winds, we had our south corridors, we had a lot of leaks, roof leaks. So we had Region 1 in-house. That affected some of their day usage. So we were able to compensate them with some discounts and then also move them around so that the roof leaks didn't affect them. And then we also had an AC go out as well because of, it was one thing after another this week for Region 1, but they're very understanding. And then lastly, I want to tell you that Juan Sanchez, our operations staff member who's been with us for 24 years, is retiring from the CVB. So we wish him well, wish him luck, and we have internal, and you guys are welcome to join us on Thursday to celebrate his 24 years of service to the city with us. And we have themed it, A Legend is Retiring. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Big shoes to fill. If you could please have someone send us an email or reminder so we
Sure.
can, I think we'd all would like to attend if we can.
Sure.
Pros and cons of having staff with you for a long time. As we have at the hotel at times, of course, they're with you for a long time, they're great, and then, of course, their time comes, of course, of retiring. It's like, whoa, that's going to be hard shoes to fill, so.
And he let us know probably January, February. So we've been planning for it, and we have now come up with a plan to fill his shoes. 3 different operations staff members are going to have to fill his one.
Huge thank you. A huge, huge thank you.
Often the
for-
case.
for us.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to item 4, approved consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item 5.1, presentation and discussion by the Zimmerman Agency and Predictive Data Lab on campaign performances, KPIs, and analytics. They're on Zoom, I guess, or Google Meet.
We have them
Yes,
on.
good.
It's actually a record. Who's going first? I don't know if it's okay. Z team. Good.
Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see everybody. Carol Ann and Kirsten are going to walk you through this month's report of media and social media performance. We've got some good news to share.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Kirsten, you can pull it up.
You guys, as far as us? There you go.
Oh, sorry. Okay, can you see my screen or the presentation?
Yes.
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 Perfect. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and hope everyone is looking forward to the holiday weekend. We are going to go over the April results. We are using a new template this month, so hopefully it goes okay. If you have any feedbacks, changes, we're happy to work on those. But diving right into April, looking at the programmatic side for paid media, during April, we saw 92 million impressions, a strong click-through rate of 0.30%, well above our benchmark, and over 21,000 conversions. Just to call out here, we do see that our CPM of almost $12, that's a little high. However, completely expected because we do have display, but we're also running a heavy OTT and CTV schedule, and that is driving up the CPM. Like I said, totally normal and expected. CTV and OTT just as a higher premium. We're running on those top tier inventory networks like Discovery and HGTV. So not concerning, but we're still getting a pretty efficient CPM overall. Then looking further down, we have a performance trend over time. This just shows our clicks and media costs together throughout the month of April. And just one call out that during mid-April towards the end, we introduced or activated new HTML creative, which is likely causing that increase in clicks towards the end of the month, just with that new addition. Then looking at a monthly performance breakdown, as you can see, this is going to show December from when we started media, but and then it has every month that we're running, and then you can even see a slight insight into how May is performing so far. And this just recaps again the total impressions, clicks, click-through rate, and conversions. And then going down, looking at our creative performance. Again, we had 3 sets of creative. We had the By Land and By Sea, which was running, that was activated in early March and was running for the summer and brand campaigns. And then more recently in mid-April, we introduced the Ride a Wave or Ride a Horse and Take a Tour or Take a Dip creative for brands. Out of the creative, we saw that Take a Tour and Take a Dip achieved the highest click-through rate of 0.29%, which is 190% above our benchmark. Awesome results, especially given the short amount of time that that creative had been running. So really ramped up quickly and nicely. And then in addition to that, we also saw that the By Land or By Sea creative also saw a strong click-through rate of 0.19% and over 9,000 conversions. Again, that creative has been running the longest, so in line with what we would expect to see. And then looking further, we have a breakdown by performance, and this just looks at our various placements by ad size or then by inventory. So we'll see that Expedia, we have the VRBO inventory broken out versus Expedia.com, and then our different Sojourn programmatic placements. And then going down, this is something that you're familiar with seeing as our site performance or our partner performance. So looking at each as a whole, as you can see, we saw that StackAdapt, which is who we're utilizing for our OTT and CTV placements, delivered the highest click-through rate of 0.22%, followed by Sojourn, our programmatic side, and then lastly, Expedia. Just a call out for Travel Spike, you might notice we don't have any impressions or a click-through rate. That's because the platform is a cost per click inventory system, and so we only have clicks and conversions for that partner. Before I move on to SEM, are there any questions? All right. Diving right into paid search performance for April. Again, we saw really great results. We saw a 15% click-through rate, well above our benchmark of 4.68%, over 900 conversions, and we garnered a really efficient cost per click of 37 cents. That's well above or well below our benchmark. So all great things here.
Kristen, what would you attribute those rates to? Why are they so much better?
The cost per click.
Right.
Just with optimizations that we're making, and then we've activated additional campaigns surrounding things to do and events. And I believe also, we're not running the spring break campaign, and that was driving a little bit higher of a cost per click during the January through March timeframe. So a couple of factors that contribute to that. So
the click-through rates, you think might be attributable to people interested in activities? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, we'll see further we have the campaign breakout, but the click-through rates are strong based on the optimizations that we're making, but then also calling out that really efficient cost per click. And I think that's huge because we saw higher cost per clicks during the spring break campaigns just because of that higher competition. And then now that we don't have spring break running, we can focus a little bit more on the brand and then the things to do and events campaigns to help drive those cost per clicks down.
And guys, quick question. On our conversions in 904, is that a submit form or is that a visit to a specific page? What's our conversion measurement?
Sure. So a conversion measurement is looking at the form submits, but then also the various website button actions. So a combination of those two.
Thank you, Kristen. Down below,
we have our, sorry.
Thank you. Down below, is that where you'll show the breakout? I'm curious to see what our allocation is for branded keywords, in this case, South Padre Island, compared to general keywords, for example, beaches in Texas.
Yep, it's further down.
Thank
in
you.
the deck.
Oh, okay, you're scared. I'm like, what are you looking at?
And then again, similar to what we saw before, we have just our trend over time with impressions, clicks, and cost. As you can see, during April, with those optimizations that we're making, you can see where performance slightly trends upward throughout the month, which are all great things. And then going down for the campaign breakdown. So as you can see, our brand campaign is the most efficient with a 25-cent cost per click, and the most conversions overall, with the competitor campaign driving the highest click-through rate, followed by our events campaign. And looking further, we have just some ad content. So an ad preview of some of our ad copy ads that are running. And then our keyword breakdown. Because this is a PDF, it's only going to show a certain amount of keywords. When we're in the live dashboard, and we can supply additional details if you'd like. We obviously have more keywords running for these campaigns, but as we can see, the top with the impressions is that South Padre Island keyword, and also with the most conversions.
Do we buy keywords from other cities. When you pull up South Padre, you'll sit there and see Corpus Christi, you'll see Galveston, things of that sort. Are we doing any of that, or are we strictly only sticking to South Padre and like,
I don't believe they're buying.
so we're not buying when somebody's researching our competitors?
Zimmerman, right? I don't think we're buying.
We are slightly. That's part of the competitor conquesting campaign.
What's
it's-
slightly? I'm just curious as to. I mean, because I just my personal opinion. I'm not sure what the board feels, but don't y'all feel that that's
So maybe I can clarify this. Kristen, I think that our sentiment is the top of the funnel marketing when it comes to SEM. So I am fully aware that SoPottery.com ranks organically number one by far in terms of search volume, website traffic. If someone's looking for South Padre Island or the variation of terms you have listed there, if they're looking for just a beach in Texas or beaches near me, we have millions of new Texans that are not aware we exist. Or if they're looking for Port Aransas or Galveston, which we'll say is in our comp set, we want to be in front of them. And I think we would be comfortable with allocating our paid search dollars towards that, what I'll call top of the funnel. In terms of that, with segmentage of our competitors, we again would like to spend dollars, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, bringing awareness of South Padre Island to new Texans in particular.
Agreed.
I'm just saying, you got Dallas, if their market is Galveston, or Houston's to Galveston, San Antonio's to Port A, I think that we should, if they're typing in Port A, South Padre should pop up as a reminder, like, hey, South Padre Island, paid ad. I mean, if that's what we're doing here, versus if they're shopping South Padre, well, we already got them if they're already searching South Padre per se. But we'd like to sit there and plant the seed on those that are shopping elsewhere, was my thought.
Just looking for a beach.
Just, or a beach in general.
Right.
Yeah, Destin. Or
Yes, Z-Team, we're quite aware that as board members, when we travel throughout the state, numerous Texans have no idea that South Padre Island exists. They don't know where it is. They confuse us with Corpus Christi if they have not been here before. So if they're interested at all in beach vacations, beach travel, we want to get in front of them.
Because these keywords, if you ask me, are for those that already know about South Padre. And one of the things about us being on this board for years has been, how do we get to those that don't know about South Padre? And therefore, those that do know about Port A, those that do know about Galveston, why are we not attacking that market? And those keywords, I think we should.
Expanding on that, as the Austin market with so many new people there, they know there's beaches in Texas, but they don't know the name of them.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying. So
Just know they want to go to the beach.
that's it.
They don't care where in a city.
Kristen, did you get that feedback from us, I guess, on how we are managing our paid search campaigns?
Yes.
From
Yeah,
there,
and we can
I'm
provide-
assuming that through the other platforms you mentioned earlier, that we have the display remarketing all set up, all queued up. Of course, if they fill out a contact form, we're going to email them. So new visitors, I think, is ultimately where we would like the dollars being spent.
This is great, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just think that if you can, on the next meeting, bring us back like additional keywords that y'all would sit there and start focusing on, but bring it back to us just so we can take a look at it, would be great. But these keywords, again, do not get me wrong, these are great, but I just feel that we do need to sit there and steal some traffic from our competitors. Just as they do to us, is what I mean.
Right. Yes. And we can definitely provide that for the next.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm aware, too, that in other DMOs, there are other websites in the private sector that compete with the DMO. That's not the case here in South Padre Island. So Padre.com dominates probably 90% of the website traffic for general inquiries about the destination.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
All right. And then moving on to Google Analytics, we wanted to provide some of the website traffic. This is looking at the website as a whole and not specific to our any of the campaigns or a specific landing page. During April, we did see a decline in overall website traffic. it's something we are watching closely. Some things that we feel that are contributing to the decrease is during March, we had higher budget allocations due to the spring break campaigns. Now that spring break is over, April is a little bit lower on our budget just for the brand and the summer campaigns.
But are we not
So we've
comparing?
seen a decrease.
I'm sorry to keep on interrupting. I'm sorry, but I know you're mentioning spring break, but are we not comparing April 1st to April 30th? When you look at that, we're down 25% on users or new users. Are we not looking at those numbers based on last year's, or are you comparing it to March?
I'm comparing to March. Now we can
But
compare
we-
year
yeah.
over year.
Yeah, we
and
need
send
to
that,
compare April to April, apples to apples, because April has nothing to do with March. Just as, Easter has nothing to do with Memorial Weekend. That way we're looking at numbers. How did April do compared to April? Unless you all feel different. Right? Okay.
Yes,
So,
Kristen, moving forward, we'd like to see year over year, and also a segmentation of all paid traffic compared to organic traffic. I think the board will see that year over year, we're up with organic traffic, which is a great sign.
because I would think that
Definitely.
right now, with the way rooms and bookings are going, we'd see that flipped. We should see an increase on web traffic.
Yes, sir.
So looking at this is like a disappointment, but I think on the contrary, if we can get that and get that emailed over to us, to the board, the comparison of April to April, and I think it'll make us all feel better, be like, yeah, traffic's up, there we go, makes much more sense why numbers are up.
And I think also, in speaking with them, to include like the Easter holidays, because sometimes it falls.
Sure,
You know.
and that's understandable.
Yeah.
When that happens, the end of March is Easter, and April this year is not, or vice versa. But for right now, I think we should be comparing the year over year, month to month.
Okay. We can make that update and send that back over to you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. And so this is going to continue. That's the top part is the only section that is month over month comparisons. We also have the performance timeline by day throughout the full month of April, similar to what we've seen in the previous slides. So just looking at our sessions versus page views versus pages per session trends. And then our site performance overall. So during April, we saw over 320,000 sessions, a bounce rate of 52%. Bounce rate is a little high, but overall, we don't feel like that's anything to be concerned about because that's still pretty strong and competitive. And then we saw a 1.97 pages per session. Again, we like to see pages per session to be anywhere around 2 or over. So right there.
Chad, is that about right?
And then
Bounce rate? I mean, I know you look at different numbers more than probably all of us, and Sean, is that about what we've done?
Yeah,
Bounce rate?
Anybody that doesn't know, that means they visited one page on the site and they didn't advance beyond that, and 50% on average.
Okay.
We all click on stuff constantly. If we find what we're looking, it's not necessarily a bad thing. They may have found what they're looking for.
And they answered my question, thank you, I'm out. Right. Okay.
Or it's one of the reasons you want to look at that too is if the bounce rate's super high, it means they're not finding our landing pages aren't what they're looking for.
Attractive.
So you have to look at these keyword campaigns, particularly on paid search, make sure it's directing the right page.
And
If you
ideally,
have
you'd go.
family activities and it goes to the homepage.
Right.
they're out.
Ideally, you'd go page by page, and if you see an anomaly with a very high bounce rate,
Yeah.
it could be the page is broken, it doesn't have the information they're looking for, it may be irrelevant to what they're looking for. And that's not necessarily something the Z team, correct me, Lori, if that's, or Teresa, Simple View and the in-house team goes through that and makes sure that all of the pages on the site, which there are hundreds of pages,
Are not broken.
are, yeah, everything's
And our e-blasts are linking to the correct pages.
humming along.
Yeah.
And we're all on SoPadre.com. When we click around, more often than not, everything's correct.
Yeah. No, it's a daily task for in-house.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not a problem. And then Going down, we have traffic performance. So just looking at our different channels, including organic, direct, paid, search, display, and social. And then we also have a device performance. So you can see mobile, desktop, and tablet, with desktop having the lowest bounce rate, closely followed by mobile. And then you can see we've got a sessions by device breakout. So most of our sessions are coming from the mobile device. I don't think that's very surprising. And then we've also included some geographic performance, looking at the top states or top cities, and looking at the basic website measurements. So users, new users, sessions, bounce rate, average session duration, and then page views.
Kristen, again, moving forward, instead of cities, could you please use metro areas? We know that that skews our perception of what the reality is here. We don't want to get people to have the wrong idea that that is specifically Austin city limits. We want the metro area, which will encompass the surrounding areas, as an example. Another one would be the Rio Grande Valley. Separating Brownsville and Harlingen isn't really relevant to us. We want to see the comparison of the Rio Grande Valley metro area compared to other markets overall.
Okay. Yep,
And that we use that information, of course, to give, with that data to determine our paid targeting, our geo targeting.
Right. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Of course. And then we just have a user chart that basically reflects what we just saw above, just a heat map of where everyone is coming from when they get to the site. And then lastly, we've got some goal performance in here, and this is just based on our Google Analytics and what we have set up. We've provided the goal name and then broken it out by source medium and then how many completions. And then we also have additional goal performance broken out by the various campaigns and then the event labels that were set up in Google Analytics. And then I think moving on to paid social, but before we move on to Carol Ann, were there any additional questions? All right, I will pass it over to Carol Ann.
Thank you, Kirsten. Good morning, y'all. Okay, so let's dive into social. With our new layout, we'll see an overview of our monthly performance. We can see that our Facebook ads accumulated close to 700,000 impressions, over 6,500 link clicks, 35,500 engagements, and an average of 37 cents per link click. So moving on to the next slide, our Facebook and Instagram creatives are detailed below of what we've run for the month of April. We always have one family-focused ad on Facebook and a millennial targeted video ad on Instagram. This third ad during the month was regarding a final push into Mexico regions regarding Semana Santa travel, which always performs really well. And here we'll see it's at 6 cents cost per link click.
Now on our conversions on our social, are we measuring that at all? I didn't see it on the previous slide. Doing after the click.
Such as like link clicks or?
Yeah, after they click, what are they doing? They click and what happens? So they go to the page, then what? We measuring that?
I think we can look into Google Analytics for that and see if we can track and be able to show that on the report.
Yeah, if we're going to spend money on social ads, we need to be tracking that 'cause it's pretty easy to do. I think that information is important. To
Yeah, I
point
think
out.
they have the data that's just not on this presentation. It should be in Google Analytics on the conversion tracking.
Right.
Next month, if you could please include the conversions for paid social ads.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Do you need that right now, though, to get that? I'm just saying.
No, I
she can
just,
pull it
look,
to
if
send
we're going to
it, or
measure
wait till
this
next
stuff, let's
month?
measure everything, right? Let's not forget things off of here because it really doesn't show campaign performance. And the day we want some idea of conversions. It's not going to be perfect.
Sure.
Because this is obviously we're a destination marketing website. It's not like buying a hotel room, so it's not going to be clean. They checked out, but we should have some angle and just to see how this is actually doing.
Yes, and we should be putting our dollars into what's converting best.
Yeah. Even if it shows real high, great. If it shows terrible, then we're like, whoa, this cost per click is low, but they're not doing anything. They're just clicking and gone. So we're wasting money then.
We'll be able to see it in the next presentation from PDL.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And then in the next few slides, we'll have a peek into Facebook organic and Instagram organic social stats. So we'll see that overall we've garnered over 2 million impressions just with organic posts. We've reached close to 2 million people as well and have over 45,000 engaged users. And we'll see, here's a graph with daily performance. Okay, so moving on to the next slide after that, we can see that we're maintaining a healthy skew on age range towards the left with our biggest age range being from 25 to 44. Our top page likes by city come from Mexico City, Distrito Federal in Mexico, followed by San Antonio and Brownsville. All right. With Instagram organic social performance. Oh, and then this is just a peek into the top posts that have done well on Facebook organic. With our Instagram organic social performance, we've got a couple of other monthly stats to view. We can see here that we've gained over 1,700 new followers, along with reaching over 500,000 users. And I want to say we're attributing a good amount to that. Also, we've been incorporating more and more video posts as the months go on, not only on Reels, but then that leads on over to TikTok as well. Okay, then moving past that, we've got the creatives top post performance as well. A lot of nature and landscape or also press release updates perform pretty well. Great. Before moving on to TikTok and Snapchat, are there any questions on Instagram or Facebook?
Yes, and I apologize for missing yesterday's weekly status call. I know that the team here has brought it up on several occasions about getting our social media profiles verified. Is there another update on that?
The current update is that they rejected it, didn't really offer a reason whenever the team inputted it, but we're going to be trying again. But so far, it's not like an actual reason as to why they haven't.
Andy, if you could take note, I would like to think that with Zimmerman's strong buying power with Meta in particular, that there may be somebody on your team that can get on the phone with somebody that can assist us with that. I'm sure that your agency overall is spending an incredible amount of money with Meta.
Agreed.
Thank you, Andy.
Will do.
All right, so going down, we'll look into TikTok and Snapchat. We want to go to the next slide. So with both TikTok and Snapchat, you'll see that these slides are very general as we're working on showcasing more granular charts and graphs for the next reporting period. But I've detailed all the overview stats and creative snapshots at the end of this deck as well under Insights. So here you'll see we can look into what campaigns have been running for the month of April. And then with that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the end. With TikTok, so this platform has been the most efficient in terms of average cost per click across the board. We run 2 ads as well. One's family focused, one's millennial. focus, and they've come out to an even 47 cents cost per click and close to 6,000 impressions for the month. Given what we've also chatted about, now we're going to start tracking to see what happens after they click. So we will be having that on that next report. And then going to the next one for Snapchat.
Is there anything else on the TikTok, going back, that? Is there any other info on the TikTok that we need to know about?
It appears we're not spending very much money on it, according to that slide anyway. Do you plan on making any adjustments on campaign spending now that we have this information?
Yes. So for the month of June, since we are now close to end of April, we are now shifting even more money from our just overall yearly budget, specifically $4,000 June, July, and August, just to go into TikTok and Snapchat, because those are the ones that drive the most lead clicks.
I'm just going to bring up the recommendation I bring up several times, is this display ad spend that we're doing. That money should be shifted to social or like Google paid search, this overall brand awareness stuff that we continue to do at such a high level. I'd like to see a little bit more pinpoint bombing, I guess. Like $4,000 on TikTok. Our display ad budget is, how much is our display ad budget? These generic banner ads we're running, how much are we spending on that in the same time period?
I don't have that on me, but we can supply that.
I think it's in all these.
Yeah, it's buried in there. I think we'd like to see a report on this budget breakdown, because that's just something I'm bringing up. The display ads are dead. I don't know how else to say it. It doesn't work. Anybody here run display ads on their business? Raise your hand.
Well, I appreciate it. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Exactly. Doesn't work.
Okay, then moving on to Snapchat. All right, so for that month, we spent $1,000. And like we said, for June, July, August, we're bumping that up. And we've garnered over 100.
Hold on one second. We spent $1,000 for what time period?
That's April.
The
April.
month. So
They allocated $1,000 for April for Snapchat, and looks like they did pretty well with it.
yeah, that's what I think. I think social you need to bring
Yeah.
up.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2,000, close to 2,000 swipes. So we can talk about this even more, but we're keeping Facebook and Instagram budget the same, but we're looking, we've reached into other pockets as well of our yearly budget to bump up TikTok and Snapchat together.
Great. Thank you.
All right. And so, yeah, that wraps it up for me. Any questions?
No, thank you for your time.
And then just to finish through some of the reports, we have a insights page. It just kind of covers what we went through on the report. We've also have included recommendations that we're continuing to do. So for
Kirsten, why don't you highlight the recommendations for them so you know, so they can show that we are massaging this and making changes based on the results.
Yep, that's yeah. I was not going to go through the insights since we already kind of discussed those, but for paid digital, those recommendations and optimizations that we continue to do. So we'll continue monitoring the paid digital efforts weekly so that we can continue to gain better efficiencies. Those optimizations include increasing our bids on top performing tactics and audiences. We also optimize by creative. We'll continue to increase bids on those top performing creative versions and or the ad size. We also will look to continue to pause any of those ad sizes that are delivering a click-through rate below our benchmark because that will help increase overall performance. And then we'll continue to rotate the different creatives so that we can limit ad fatigue. Looking at paid search recommendations and optimizations, we'll continue again to optimize the campaigns on a weekly basis. Similar to paid media, we'll increase bids on the top performing or converting keywords. So looking at click-through rate and conversions. pausing keywords that have less than 1% click-through rate to help bring up the overall performance, and then ensure that all of our keywords are on that first page bid threshold.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And then passing it back to Carol Ann.
Okay, so yeah, with paid social insights, we've kind of gone through it all. But just as an overview, in Facebook, the targeted Mexico region ads continue to perform really well. So again, not in May, but starting in June, we have been building a deck, and we're getting final approval soon to start including ads targeting the demographic of like Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, those ones that have been just like really responding. And then as well with Snapchat and TikTok, we're looking to add in more budget towards our video ads. And as always, our recommendations are to continue to focus really on creating and getting more video for these ads versus static images.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Wonderful. Lori, what's next?
So-
Gentlemen, do you have questions for them or to the staff? Okay.
So the next one will be the report from PDL, and it's recorded because they're out of town at a training, but they pre-recorded it and also provided the report so that we
Okay,
can review it as
great.
well.
Thank you, Z Team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ben, whenever you're ready, we can start the predictive data lab recording.
Hey, my name is Atiq Alam. I am a senior data analyst with Predictive Data Lab.
Ben, if you could raise the
Today I'll be
volume.
presenting the April 2022 monthly recap for South Padre Island. In today's presentation, we will be going over the
video.
hotel
Thank you,
and
Ben.
vacation rental metrics, followed by the paid media performance, and then the web analytics, and then finally concluding with the traveler intelligence along with the economic impact report for South Padre Island. Starting with the hotel and vacation rental data, we did a competitor analysis of South Padre Island and competing areas to see how they performed in terms of occupancy, average daily rate, and then RevPAR for April of 2022. This data is an average of both hotel and vacation rental data, so both of those segments are represented. When we look at the data, South Padre Island had the largest occupancy of all competitors. As far as ADR, South Padre Island did have a lower average daily rate than competitors, but that being said, this was offset by the fact that South Padre Island's RevPAR was much higher than competitors. Basically, occupancy and ADR make up the metric of RevPAR, and so the higher RevPAR indicates that overall South Padre Island is performing better than competitors for April 2022. When looking at the annual analysis or the year-over-year analysis for Visit South Padre Island, what we found is that in all vacation rental and hotel metrics, South Padre Island outperformed 2021. This was present in occupancy, average daily rate, RevPAR, and revenue. When looking at the key data booking or the vacation rental booking data, what we found is direct bookings were by far the most popular and most lucrative form of booking for vacation rentals. This was despite having about equal availability for all segments of booking sources, along with about similar ADR for all segments of booking sources as well. Now, when we look at the paid media performance, what we actually found is that it was brought to our attention that TikTok actually had a technical error which caused a discounting of some of the impressions and clicks that were actually produced by the platform. in the month of April. That's why we see that slight dip in April of 2022. That being said, as we can see by the click-through rate, the popularity of these platforms basically was the same from the previous month. So we basically can allot that decrease to the technical error on the part of TikTok. With that being said, even with that error in place, TikTok generated by far the highest amount of clicks, followed by Snapchat. This kind of shows that both of these platforms are very popular in terms of engagement, which makes sense considering the nature of both platforms in terms of posting pictures and sharing experiences. So what we recommended when looking at this data, along with the next slide, is that TikTok and Snapchat continue to be a focus, and maybe even more of a focus in later campaigns or similar campaigns as we go throughout the year. And then when we look at the cost per click and cost per month, again, these numbers were slightly inflated due to the impressions and clicks that were not accounted for in TikTok. But that being said, with the summer months upcoming, there is a chance that with more and more families going on vacations and then more and more travel agencies kind of advertising to those families, that these two metrics will become a little bit more expensive as we go into the more competitive summer months. When looking at the paid media by campaign, what we found was that...
I paused it in case y'all wanted to talk.
No, I just had a question on the previous slide when it said the technical error on the social platform TikTok. What was that error? Do we know? And only because I'm asking since they themselves said TikTok was one of the leading producers, et cetera, and there was a technical error. What was that?
Well, Teresa, is that something that they just said that there was a problem with TikTok? Daniel has concerns about that. Did Zimmerman resolve those technical issues?
Yeah, that was for the first one was for the video. Remember that wasn't allowed, the one that we have for spring break?
I think you need to go to the mic so they can hear you. Go to the mic.
Well, overall, you're going to resolve it, right? Yes. There was a problem, you fixed it. Is that what you want to know, ultimately?
I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ben.
That the Evergreen campaign kind of outperformed regarding all metrics, which makes sense considering it was the one that the most spend was used on. What was really interesting for us is that we saw that the Millennial Focus campaign had more clicks. And
Ben, if you could pause it, please.
What's the Evergreen?
What's Evergreen?
Campaign? Sorry.
Teresa?
The Evergreen.
Oh, they're on the phone. Thank you.
Sorry, I was
Go
saying
ahead.
It's Kirsten from Zimmerman.
Thank you.
The Evergreen is also the brand campaign. It's just how it was labeled in our UTM parameters.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lower cost, which kind of indicates to us that maybe this campaign, with this heavy focus on TikTok and Snapchat, kind of illustrated by the previous slide, should have some takeaways that we can use in other campaigns, meaning that with the amount of engagement that we're seeing in this campaign, it could be an opportunity to test more involvement of TikTok and Snapchat in the other campaigns to see what kind of arises. And I think that's a strategy that we may be using in the upcoming months. When we look at paid media by targeted audience, basically the targeted audiences focus on the areas where we are receiving the highest amount of visitors to South Padre Island. This is for both within the state of Texas and outside of the state of Texas. You will see that Houston had a higher amount of spend. However, we've confirmed that Houston and San Antonio had about equal focus in terms of the resources that we are kind of allotting to those two areas. That being said, Houston is a more expensive market, so it does end up costing a little bit more, which is where you see that higher segment of cost per campaign in the pie chart below. Something that we'll see in later slides is that travel intelligence showed that we had a pretty decent amount of visitors from two locations not on this map. They were Kansas City and Chicago. I would hesitate to say that those should be primary focuses of marketing campaigns going forward, as those may just be seasonal or potentially monthly trends that kind of die down. So it'd be more. I think it'd be a better practice to see if those trends continue before allotting more and more advertising money to those areas, especially since those areas are known for people coming from the north to come to warmer weather, and with spring and summer coming up, it'll be interesting to see if that pattern holds. When looking at the web analytics, again, we see that TikTok and Snapchat, despite having a lower cost, brought in a lot of users and a lot of traffic to the website. Again, this is another indicator that TikTok and Snapchat could potentially be a market opportunity for attracting more users on the website, more clicks, with potentially lower cost. And I think that's a strategy that the team will be using going forward. As far as the other web analytics, there was a peak around mid-April. As we're going to see in later slides, we had some events towards the middle of the month and also the end of the month, which may have also kind of attributed to those peaks. We'll talk about that in the later event versus arrival slide. That being said, whenever we look at the keyword data, which is a new visualization that we added, when we are looking at what people search on Google, that brings them to the South Padre Island website. The key search terms are on the chart on the bottom left, with the most interesting one that we found being best beaches in Texas. Knowing that that is a key search term that people use when they are looking for South Padre Island, it could be an opportunity to use that phrase more in the website and in marketing campaigns to kind of have South Padre Island rank higher and higher when people search for that on Google. Other than that, we did also find that Things to Do was again the most popular page. This was a trend that we saw in previous months as well. This was followed by Spring Break, which is kind of by design due to the Spring Break campaign that we had in the previous month. And then we also saw the Queen Isabella Causeway, and then also the webcams showing up to round out the top 5. One thing about the webcams is that we find that is it's not always the same webcam, but regardless, those webcams tend to show up as
Ben,
some
can
of the
you
most
pause it,
popular
please?
pages. So that could also potentially.
Teresa, with our partnership with Lab Padre, besides our Things to Do page, the webcams are extremely popular. If you could please see or inquire how we can add more cameras to it, if they're reliable. If they keep going down and there's problems and it's frustrating for your staff, then that's another story.
Yes, we'll continue on doing that. And one of Teresa Rodriguez, South Padre Island Marketing and Communications Director. Manager. Yes, we are noticing also, and we've been commenting with the team that a lot of the other cities also are using the webcams as part of the social media. So it's becoming more and more popular. People want to know how the weather is at certain time.
I know there's a way through the systems, and Lab Padre, I would like to think, can assist with this, to put that directly into the social media feed where you can go live on Facebook and Instagram, and it's showing the actual camera. It's so cheap to do, and especially on situations like this after this bad weather, showing everybody how beautiful it's going to be this weekend, I think is cost effective.
Yes, during the weekends, preparing for the weekends, that's where people are going to see. And that's why also we're doing the weather report starting on Thursday.
Excellent.
And now that we have a pause, so I just want to make a comment on the previous slides about why are people coming from Kansas, Oklahoma, up north in the month of April, why we saw that trend. And talking also with Welcome Home RGV and seeing all the data. Remember, winter Texans were here. But April, during the Easter weekend or Easter week, family members were coming to see their relatives. Winter Texans are staying longer than they used to be, and then people that are coming with their family and spending spring break here. Now, if they're any part of the Rio Grande Valley or even all the way to San Antonio, they want to come to the beach.
Right.
So that's why we see that increase. So we had to consider that whenever we're spending our dollar
That's a
amounts.
great point. Normally, historically, we've turned off Winter Texan, targeting Winter Texans because we go into spring break mode in March. But we have to recognize that there's still very many Winter Texans that are in the South Texas.
Yes.
They will come visit us in March and April.
One question I had for you too.
Yes.
On the previous slide on the key data that was being shown, it said that our marketing campaigns are matching the markets where our travelers are coming from, which obviously, again, that is a low-hanging fruit. I hate using that word over and over again. Hey, we know where these people are coming from. We're marketing to them. That's great. My question is just sort of cultivating new markets, though. When I look at new markets, I don't look at new markets of like New York. I'm talking about what I don't see on here, like Abilene, Midland, okay? I would think this is the best beach they've got in their hopper. Same with possibly El Paso. Just to name a couple, kind of our hill country region too. I'm always like wondering our Bernie's north to,
Yes.
sort of that Llano region right in there. I don't know what the marketing mix is here on us spending our money on our markets that are already coming versus cultivating some new stuff too. I like those destinations that are coming, our markets that are a little bit north of here in Texas because the longer stay, of course. And quality of client, I got to think they're going to spend more money because it's definitely a true vacation, not a two-nighter if you're coming from Abilene. It's too far.
It seems like the last time we did that, which it appears we've had success, was in terms of a new market, was Oklahoma City.
Yes.
We did have some in Laredo too. Remember, we kind of did that.
Laredo.
We had Laredo. That's why I'm like kind of El Paso, Abilene. I'm just wondering on this peripheral Texas market if we can get a little bit more of that.
Yes, I
oil
agree.
prices are way up, so I'm assuming some of this oil money up there is going to start flowing down here.
Yes, we agree with you, and that's why we are reaching out to different areas. Like, for example, we concentrate with the newcomers from California, Florida, that they're moving to the area from San Antonio all the way to Austin and northern Austin, that they had never been in this area, and that we're trying to reach out that market. And I agree with you. We had to go farther north.
And I
Like
just think with
Ernie
our-
is a good market to reach out to.
And with our ad agency too, Zimmerman, when we're kind of looking at our web analytics, coming up with those suggestions of look, if 100% of our marketing and advertising budgets to the markets that we already have, that's great. We know they're coming. And especially in the summer, like we want to hit home runs there. But the question is just my belief looking at this, a percentage of this budget should be allocated to this new market cultivation. And I don't know what percentage that is, but it's something we should really discuss. We all have the same problem here in the summer. Summer's busy. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, either we're giving the rate away or the occupancy's down a lot. We talk about this every year. Everybody has space Monday, Tuesday, except for probably 4th of July weeks, right?
Yes.
And I think that these more northern markets are where we could cultivate just that midweek stay, because it is a true vacation. It's not, hey, let's hop in the car and go for the weekend and barbecue, right?
So true. The longer length of stay, if they're further away. So
I'm not talking about going outside to Texas. Oklahoma's great, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. But we've got some places in Texas here that I'm not seeing on this map. And I think we should be able to get those numbers up. And I'm bringing up Abilene, El Paso, but there's some other stuff in there, kind of this West Texas. We're leaving a lot on the table there, I think.
yeah, and Teresa, I don't have the answer either to what percentage of our budget we should allocate to new markets.
Yes.
But I guess you'll work with the team maybe
Yes,
and
we
see
will
what
do
maybe there's an industry standard for something
Right,
along
Sean,
those
and we
lines.
saw that 6 cents a click on our Monterey market. Like when we're at the 37 cents a click, right? I mean, this stuff's running pennies on the dollar. We should be spending more money in Monterey
Yes, and I
because
think
of that.
thanks to you, Teresa, we're marketing to Mexican nationals year-round now,
Yes.
especially at that affordable
And
cost.
And also, we are reaching out as far as Coahuila. We have Veracruz, all the state of Tamaulipas. So that's why we had seen that increase on our marketing budget. For,
And now with the tollway, I mean, Torreon might not be out of the picture either, right?
Yes, no, it's close. All the area from Coahuila, Tamaulipas, Nuevo León, and Veracruz, because that's where they're coming here. And as you can see, I mean, they're already here every weekend, and so we want them to come to the beach and spend some time here.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you can hit play again. Thank you very much for your patience.
Potentially be a way to attract users to social media as well. Potentially even integrating some things regarding SpaceX and the new Twitter ownership. Maybe some of that could be incorporated with the webcams to generate some type of social media campaign. When we look at the traveler intelligence data, what we found is that when we overlaid it with the event data, so as you can see on the left, we have the line representing the amount of trips that people are taking to the island, and the bar charts representing the events that are held on the island and the estimated attendance of those events. And what we kind of saw is that there was a trend that when there was a spike in the basically size of the event occurring in the conference center the convention center for South Padre Island, there was an equally large increase in the amount of trips coming into South Padre Island. With the most popular events being the basketball showcase, the Spirit Splash Cheer Championship, and the Apostolic Assembly Retreat. All three of these events did occur in the convention center, and as we saw, all three of the events resulted in spikes in the amount of trips coming to the island, which is a trend that we are interested to see if it holds up in later months. And then when we see the breakdown of the trips by event location, convention center takes up the large majority of that pie chart. When looking at the traveler intelligence data specific to airports, what we found is that the highest volume of visitors were coming from the Valley International Airport. But that being said, those coming into the Brownsville SPI International Airport, which didn't have as higher volume, had people who stayed longer on the island. Not by too much, only about a couple of hours, but still, we thought it was an interesting trend to note. And then we had, as far as airport arrivals, the most airport arrivals came from Minnesota. So, most arrivals do come from Texas, but when we specify for just airport arrivals, it's really looking out of state, and Minnesota seems to be the highest volume of travelers coming to South Padre Island. When we look at out of state, Wisconsin and Michigan also had high amounts for the month of April.
This is April.
When we look at points of interest, the entertainment district brought in the highest volume of people. That being said, as far as non-hotel points of interest go, the Isla Blanca Park actually had a higher amount of people spending more time in that area, even though it had less volume of visitors. So basically, we find that entertainment district brings in people, but they may not be staying as long in the entertainment district as they are in, say, the parks area. When we look at arrivals from the points of origin, we, like I mentioned in the advertising slide, the Minneapolis area seems to be the highest amount of non-Texas visitors, which is some area we're heavily advertising. All the areas in Texas are areas that we are heavily advertising in. The two outliers here were Kansas City and Chicago, which again are areas that popped into the top 10 markets for this month that weren't necessarily there in previous months. So it'll be interesting to see if that pattern holds steady in May and in summer, or if that's just an anomaly. So that's where we say that maybe we should hold off on spending money marketing there or spending more money marketing there, because it may just be a trend that we see 1 month or only one season. But we will be looking at that in future reports. As far as the area that people visit on the island geographically, it seems like the southern part of the island is really where the highest volume of visitors tend to congregate. So the next part of this presentation is the economic impact, which is something new that we're doing that we haven't done in previous presentations. And basically what we wanted to see is how South Padre Island has affected the economy around it. And what we really honed in on for this segment of the presentation is jobs, money that's being brought in, also people that are being brought in. So when we look at that, we had over $147 million in total revenue. And the way that we generated that number is we took the sum of the hotel tax collection along with the visitor credit card spending on South Padre Island for 2021. So to kind of get a summary of how much money is being brought into the island, I would say that this is an undercounting, considering that we only did look at credit card spending. So I would say that the amount of money that the island brought in was probably a lot more than 147 million. But again, that was a combination of the visitor credit card spending, which again is just looking at credit card spending on the island, which was 134 mil for 2021, and then the hotel tax collection, which actually we'll see in later slides, made up the highest percentage of tax collection in compared to sales tax and property tax for 2021. And then as far as the jobs, we looked at the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we found that in Cameron County, there were 15,808 jobs in the leisure and hospitality industry. And we believe that that can be largely attributed to the fact that South Padre Island is in Cameron County, Texas, which is why we included that in this analysis as well. And then finally, over 120,000 visitors in 2021. As we can see.
Lori, on that slide, I don't understand the data on the number of visitors visiting us in 2022 or 2021. Not sure what that was, but if you could have them make an adjustment or clarify what that is.
Where they got that from?
Yeah, I don't want, again, because this gets published, I don't want people getting the wrong idea.
That's all we had, 120,000 visitors?
Right. As far as I know, the economic study where the measurements that the city did, last year we had 9 million visitors, which was just an incredible accomplishment. All right. Thank you, Ben.
Well, before you go there, just a second, Ben. That's where also
South Padre Island is definitely trending upwards in terms of visitor count and
all the other
property taxes and sales taxes.
Right. Thank you, Ben. You can hit play again.
And seeing more 30,000, greater than 30,000 more visitors in the month of 2021 shows that there's a higher trend that we can kind of expect for 2022 as well. The reason that we didn't include 2022 in this data set is because we did want to wait until we had more data points for 2022 before we included it in any yearly analysis or projections of yearly analysis. Going back to the point on tax collection, what we saw in 2021 is that hotel tax collection was the largest percentage when you compared it to the tax collection between hotels, sales, and property. It was greater than double the sales tax, and it was pretty far ahead of the property tax as well. This is actually a change from 2020, where we saw that property tax actually made up the highest segment of the tax collection. So this trend is something that we do predict will be something we see in 2022 as well. But again, we want to wait until we have some more data points to kind of solidify those numbers before making that statement.
So property tax and sales tax.
This is just a breakdown of the visitor spending that was referred in the previous slides. So visitor spending reached a 3-year high in 2021. This is just looking at credit card spending, so it's probably a lot higher than what's reflected on this. But when we look at just the credit card spending on the island, we see that restaurants and dining, followed by retail, really caused the most transactions, along with the most credit card spending in general. Keeping in mind that people who booked their hotels with a credit card back home, they were not counted towards this number, which is why hotels and lodging were not as high as retail and restaurants and dining. And then finally, when we look at the effect on employment, we thought that hospitality and leisure would be something that we can really attribute to South Padre Island, and we wanted to show that there's a lot of jobs being produced in that industry in Cameron County, almost 1,000 more than there were in 2020 when you look at 2021. So we think that is a trend that will continue in 2022, and a trend that is highly attributable to the success of South Padre Island. So the key takeaways that we had from this presentation were that South Padre Island outperformed all competitors in the key metrics for vacation rentals and hotels. That being said, ADR was not as high, but as we discussed, since RevPAR is a product of looking at the metrics of ADR and occupancy, we found that South Padre Island led in RevPAR, which kind of shows that the higher occupancy offset the lower ADR in South Padre Island. And that's, I think, a delicate balance between how many people are coming to your hotel based on how much the pricing of your hotel is. So that's, I think, a very delicate balance to look at. And then we looked at the travel intelligence data. We found, again, the interesting trend that events in the convention center specifically had higher spikes in people traveling to the island. And again, that's a trend that we're going to be kind of monitoring in later months. And then finally, we wanted to highlight the fact that South Padre Island generated a large amount of revenue, had a influence in the jobs in the leisure and hospitality industry in Cameron County, and attracted many new visitors to South Padre Island, which kind of showcases the value of the island to not only the county, but the greater Texas area. And for the next steps, we are going to continue to add to the data points that we currently have. Alongside, we are also going to look at more specific indicators of who is visiting South Padre Island. So we have a decent idea of where they're coming from, but now we want to look at exactly what the average household income, the age, the household size is for these visitors coming to the island. That is it for my presentation of April 2022 for South Padre Island.
Anybody have any
if there are
questions
any
for
other
the video?
questions that were not answered in this presentation, feel free to reach out to Lori and Teresa. They can pass along any questions over to our team at Predictive Data Lab, and we are just happy that you took the time to let us present to you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ben.
I think we pretty much asked the questions in between that we had.
Hearing all this good news.
I know.
It's not usually, it's not how it has been in years past.
It's very positive for us, and it's going to continue to go, stay positive for the island.
May I ask, I didn't make the announcement at the beginning, but Mr. Doan, who's been waiting, can he present now? Can I move 5.3 up? I don't know if Bonsai Khan is here. No, you're okay?
No, I'm just here to listen. Okay.
He's retired.
Okay. All right, good. Any other questions for staff or comments, gentlemen?
Well, yeah, do you guys find this Predictive Data Lab information useful?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
by far.
I do as well. I just wanted to see what the consensus is.
Same.
It's very easy to follow, too.
Yeah, and I
Streamlined.
yeah. And I think with meeting, we meet with them probably every 2 weeks, and we go over everything and look at all the campaigns and tweak it. So it's very beneficial for the
Yeah,
team.
it's just much more streamlined.
Mr. Metters, some of this information I think the constituents would like to be aware of. There's some slides in there that I think that even our residents not in the hospitality industry may be happy to see, yeah.
And we're more than happy to present at City Council if you need us to, Mr. Metters.
Some of those takeaways I think are quite important for everybody to be aware of.
Very informative.
Okay, anything else before we move on? We'll go to item 5.2, presentation and discussion regarding the CVB monthly report. Oh,
So here we go.
good morning, April.
Ms. April will go first and present on, and give an update on special events.
Oh, there you go.
Good morning, April Brown, Special Events Manager. So the TGSA surf competition happened last month, late April, and did really well. Majority of the surfers and the families requested that they return the championships back to the island every year, so that's great news. Splash and Jailbreak will be getting full reports from both of those next month. They'll be on a discussion item for both for the SEC. Shallow Sport, we got lots of positive feedback. If you guys were able to drive around last weekend, you saw Shallow Sports all over the island. It was really neat to see, and they're set up at the convention center. It's really cool. They change their theme every year. This year it was like a sunset going down. I don't know, that orange lighting. It was a really, really neat setup at the convention center.
And just to add to that point, we just worked on their contract for next year, and they're good with the same dates for next year. They like it over the Mother Day weekend.
Great. Looks like you got a free gift bag there. What else did you get from Shallow Sport, April? I didn't get anything.
So for Sea Turtle Inc., they held their first 5K at the Holiday Inn Beach Resort. It was their inaugural event. They did it performed really well, and they are planning on having that the second weekend of May every year. So they will be coming pretty soon for funding as well. And then the American Junior Golf Tournament, it's being held at the SPI Golf Course in Laguna Vista. That is scheduled for next month. That was one of the ones that we approved back in 2019, but they're junior golfers, so they're under the age of 16. They just couldn't host the event due to COVID. So they're finally coming. We're excited to have them. They will be, like I said, in June at the golf course, and there are about 80 junior golfers over the 4-day period. It's during the week. They're staying here on the island at a hotel, and their staff are staying at vacation rentals. So a little bit of both, and it's during the week. The staff will be here actually for almost 7 days, so they'll be here for a long time. But
wonderful.
And then the Beach Bass Skate Jam, that's the inaugural event for the a skate competition at the Tompkins Park. That is actually on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. So we're looking forward to that next month as well. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
And we'll be switching the time for special events on the 21st. We normally have it at 2, but because we have this event and we need to support them.
And one thing I do want to add, great work. One thing that can help, and we've seen that on Real Sports, like I was telling you, especially with the upcoming events, I still think it'd be very good even the day before if we can get them. I know they're always trying to, especially during the summer, trying to plug in different things because there's not the school activities going on. And they have a very big following from Corpus down. I think it'd be smart of us to utilize them to get them to either come showcase it, do a nice little clip. They reach out to quite a bit so everybody knows what's going on, especially like the golf course one and the skate park. I think it'll be right up their alley and give some good RGV promotion out. I mean, it'll bring them down. So I think
Smart.
we pay them, we have it as advertising. We might as well utilize every stream we can.
Absolutely.
So.
Well said.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Brian.
Anything else for April? Okay. Thank you, April. Great work.
So the next one, we're going to go over, Myra's here to present. We didn't have sales updates last month, but we have them for this month. And then also we passed out some, the new meetings guide collateral so that you can look at that was done in-house with the help of Myra, myself, Teresa, and her team. And we updated it. We needed some tools for the sales department to have when they go out and do their trade shows or their sales calls. So we did an update, so we left it there for y'all to look at.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good morning, Myra.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Good.
Thank you for having me. Myra Nunez, Sales and Services Manager for the CBB. We want to start off with some of our sales efforts and what we've been busy booking. We have quite a bit of new business coming to the convention center. We have booked 2 new cheerleading events. One is happening in June, right around the corner. That's out of the Dallas area, and this is a brand new client that we were able to confirm and book and fill in the gaps where we had other events that were postponed due to COVID back when it was still hyped and we had a little bit of space left. We also booked Southern Nationals in March of 2023, and I'm keeping those together because it's a sporting event. It's also a cheerleading competition, and that one is out of the Austin area. And following that, David was able to book the U.S. Powerlifting Association competition in April. All of these events are brand new clients that have either looked us up in our website or inquiries through the trade shows that we're attending. The Bully Squad competition is also a dog competition. It's brand new. It's here in the Valley. It's from the McAllen area. They're trying something new. They're expecting about 300 or more attendees. So we're glad to have them. And a rebooking event, but we consider it new because they have not been with us for about 10 years, is the Texas Workforce, the Cameron County Texas Child Care Conference. They are expecting about 800. It's a 2-day event, and it's happening in October. Some of our future events that we have also booked and confirmed for 2024, which seems to be a very competitive to what we were expecting in 2020. We've had 4 or 5 big groups that are over 700 people attending between their spouses and children and all of that. TCMA, the Texas City Management Association, that usually happens in June. The South Texas County Judges and Commissioners Association. The Texas Police Games is rebooking for 2 more years. And also CEAT, the Code Enforcement Association of Texas. Cool. And one more missing there is the Texas Crime Intervention Team that'll be coming back. They were here in April, and they have probably above 550 room nights, one hotel.
And then
Great.
also, Myra, don't forget, we have USLA that you all rebooked. That's coming to us again.
Yes, and that'll be also in 2024. So we're looking at a stellar year for 2024. For this quarter, that 21-22 for April and May, we sent out a total of 29 leads and contracted and booked over 2,500 room nights. We are hoping and we're planning a sales blitz in July for both Mariana and David. Mariana staying in the Upper and Lower Valley, and David concentrating in the corporate and association. We are hoping to put in an incentive program to do more, to attract more of the meeting planners to book with us, not only at the convention center, but also on the island. So we're offering a loyalty program, a sponsorship program, which will be tiered, and that is, again, to lure them back, if we don't have the space at the convention center, at the hotels, towards their conference expenses. And then our complimentary convention services. And that'll be a companion that Teresa and her team will be working on our convention center packet that'll list everything that we're doing and offering to meeting planners.
Fantastic.
And I'll leave that for Teresa to present our meeting planner, and then the second part to that will be a companion, which will be the meet the sales manager, and it'll be a piece that we can leave behind also when doing our trade shows and our sales calls. The next page is just showing some of the events that we have attended. Mariana attended the Rotary International, actually in Matamoros with Teresa. They are looking to bid we are going to bid for 2023. And this is an international group. And they're also above 300 attendees. TCIT was held in April, like I mentioned, and they had above 500 room nights. They were one of our hotels, and it was very well attended. TML, District 12 workshop, also took place in May, and they had more attendees than expected. They had above 350. They have outgrown the hotels and are looking at us for 2023 at the convention center.
Great.
Lucy Nojosa, who is part of the Texas A&M AgriLife, was here visiting us, and we bid for the Texas Association of County Auditors. They just signed. They found a home in one of our hotels, and will be coming here in October of 2022.
Myra, did you say that we did book the Rotary Club, the Monterey Club, or we're trying to book them?
We're trying
Okay,
to
is our Rotary Club helping you? They're supposed to be sister chapters.
Yeah, not at this point. We're just now in negotiating and trying to see if we can find the dates, but we'll definitely reach out to them.
Please do. They have a lot of time on their hands.
And the next two pages are is the analytic dashboard for Threshold, who is, it lives on our CMS, on our website, and it's helping us quite a bit to show the 360 digital video of all the properties. Not only includes the hotels, but the VRMs and also our restaurants. You can see there from this report the views, the unique users, and on the next page, it shows you our earned media value since March of 2018, and then the top viewed locations and the engagement locations.
Great.
That is it on our end. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Myron, thank you very much for what you're doing. It's great to see this kind of activity come up. Way to go. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
One of the major discussions that we had when we were recruiting a new CVB director was about the convention business and about the potential expansion of the convention center. And so to have this kind of activity starting to really boil up is really important in that continued effort to see what we can do up there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we could not do it alone. Our team has been very active. Mariana and David do a lot of hard work, and they are, I think it's now very gratifying and rewarding to see all these groups booking with us and the diversity of our building. We go from having a trade show to a conference to a meeting. The setup that we're having this weekend for the local graduation of the school district, the transformation of that exhibit hall is amazing. If anybody could just stop by and see it. And then we flip right over to another conference. And so our internal team, the operations team, are really the producers. They are, really hitting the ground running. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to the sales team.
Again, Teresa Rodriguez, a manager of marketing and communications for the City of South Padre Island Convention and Visitors Bureau. Now is the marketing and communications report, as you saw it on the presentations, our social media, our Facebook top posts. As you can see, every time that we put anything about the beach, our locations are top ranking. We were seeing whenever we put the new restaurant, Land Shark, a lot of engagement. For our performance, some partial paid is whenever we boost some of our Facebook posts, but the performance has been very good for the month of April. As you can see, we didn't have any dropouts of the Facebook. We have an increase on the total followers. And then Instagram posts, again, anything about the beach is always welcome and a lot of engagement. On our session report, this is what we see worldwide. For the month of April, there were a total of 855,000 mentions. If we would have spent that money, it will be $7.5 million for a total reach of 4 billion people. As you can see, this is online, a lot of online blogs and television. That is where we're getting the total reach. The top stories, of course, always Brownsville, the things that are happening, and then always mentioned in South Padre Island. We had the Kai Festival, and it had a lot of views, and we have a farm tour that came to us for during that weekend, and they did a lot of different publications. We did that together with the Zimmerman team. As you can see, the total of the top locations by country, of course, United States, 737 stories just for the month of April. From Mexico, 15. And remember, Mexico always is behind on the numbers. Not all the publications, all the media is on the session reports. United Kingdom, 9, France, 8, Canada, 7th. And of course, the share voice. This month only, we were surpassed by Corpus Christi. Usually we're in the top ranking, but we did a good number of stories for the month, non-paid stories. Now for the PR efforts, we had 6 interviews for the month of April. Also, during the month of April, that's when we went to Mexico together with the Harlingen International Airport, and we did that press conference and presentation, which I already reported for the last month. For this month, we have also one press release, two South Padre Island presentations, one to the Rotary Club, the other one was together with the Harlingen International Airport trying to reach the Canadian market. There's a lot of interest. As you know, people from Canada traveling here, specifically to Texas, is about 500,000 visitors a year just from Canada. So it's a good market to reach out. Just like what Chad was saying, trying to reach out new places, new visitors. Live shows, interviews, we had 2 with different TV stations and radio, and the total number of publications were 12 for the month of April. These are just some samples of the different publications that we have for the month. In-house creative, we've been doing a lot of in-house. Our team of 3, and we have a wonderful creative team in-house, and together also with Toucan Graphics, we have a lot of support from them, from helping and producing different deadlines for the groups and meetings and the different publications, and you can see a sample here. And then, of course, the digital bus wraps that we have in San Antonio. We do the inside and outside of the bus, and all this is creative in-house. And, of course, the Mexico campaigns that we do at 100% in-house. All the following the Zimmerman campaign for the this or that is as hard as it gets. And some print digital also that we produce and the different publications that we have for Mexico, Rio Grande Valley, all the way to northern Texas. And of course, I wanted to give you.
I want to comment before you get ahead there. That stuff looked great, Teresa. What you and your team has accomplished. This is so nice to see. It looks fresh, and this is on point with what we discussed with our brand.
Yes, and I'm very proud of our marketing team. They're very creative, very.
There's actually photos that I haven't seen before.
Yes.
That aren't 10 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a
Thank you.
a whole, and we are sharing it to our island partners through CrowdReader so they can use it for their advertising.
Wonderful.
And the SBI CTA program, as we reported 2 months ago, we decided to do the Certified Tourism Advisor Program certification, a 4-hour presentation, 2-hour classroom, and 2-hour tour to experience the life as a tourist. We have our 2 first classes, and it was very well received. We have very good comments about it. One was just for Turtle Inc. They really got very engaged, and as Wendy was telling us the next day, I said, I can see it on the front-end employees. They're already wearing their pin. They're talking about what they experienced during this presentation. I think that our goal is to have every single island partner part of this certification. Please, I ask the board of directors to be part of this, be that voice on how to be prepared and to be that advisor whenever the visitor comes.
Can you continue to make sure that people know about that? I think
Yes.
there's many that don't know. Maybe including it in Island Vibes or something like that at the city level would be helpful to let people know. It's a great, great program.
That's a great idea, and thank you very much. We're trying to do 2 classes a month until we reach out everybody. I also have the interest from like Channel 5. Like Tim Smith, he's going to be on our next class with his team. We
Fantastic.
have people from outside of South Padre Island that they are promoting our island, and they want to be part of this certification. It's being informed, being proactive whenever our visitors come. It's not just about us spending the money and trying to bring the people in the island, but once they're here, we want them to have the best experience possible. So everybody is invited to attend. We'll be continue to announce it. And for the next 3 classes, we already had 25 people register. And these are adding up. We're limiting our class to 13 people, but if an island partner wants the whole staff trained at once, we'll be happy to accommodate that.
Teresa, were you surprised, or what kind of feedback did you get from them? I mean, in my experience, I have met so many of our employees here in particular that have not been to some of our attractions. Did you hear that from them, that they had not been to see Turtle Link or maybe some of these other locations you plan on visiting?
Yes, as a matter of fact, those are the comments that we're getting. Some employees, like for the Turtle Inc., one was there. She said, "I've been here for 23 years, and I never seen those statues that you are showing us today. I didn't even know the names, and I work here and I live here, and there's always something new that you're gonna find out that you didn't know about your island, even though we've been here forever. We take it for granted, but we want to, whenever the visitor comes, we know firsthand that that is the place that we want to recommend to visit. Among that is also the how many hotels, restaurants, what services do we offer, how to navigate our website, how to get into the visitor center and make it a norm for the visitor to stop at the visitor center. So I think that is
So true.
good and it's important. Please support this program. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll reach our goal that is at least 100 people before the end of the year.
It's been so popular that we've even had parents that homeschool their children want to attend. They want to it be a part of their curriculum to teach their children about hospitality. So we've also offered it to them as well.
Good.
Okay, then that asks the question, do we have Chamber of Commerce involved? Do we have DDC
Yes.
involved? Do we have other agents?
Yeah, we've been working with Alita and Diana at the chamber as well. So this is one portion of what their program is going to be about.
How do you register?
They just had to send us an email, and we will put it in the next class. And we'll continue sending that
Send who the
information
email, I'm sorry.
to Teresa
Okay.
at southpadre.com. And we'll be happy to register, and we'll send it to the media also, so everybody can learn more about it and try to register in it. It's a good thing for our city, and we're taking that initiative, and we want to continue doing that. But thank you so much.
Teresa, thank you. And if you see traction with it, or if you think it's financially feasible to have online registration set up on sopadre.com to make so I can send that, we all can send that web address to local businesses and partners that can participate. That and the timing of it as well. I think we're all aware too that we have some service industry that there's no way they're going to get there at 8:30 in the morning. Tuesdays are good. Mondays and Tuesdays are a good day to do it. If you have something available in the afternoons, I think that may help get some participants. Just the nature of our business here.
No, that's a great idea, and we're going to put it on the website and offer also an afternoon class. Just
Thank
for
you.
the people that they cannot leave work or they're not a morning person.
Sean sees them at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's why there's no way they're gonna make it.
We're lucky I'm here right now. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, that was everything on that. Any questions or comments with the staff? Hearing none, we'll move to item 5.3, discussion and possible action to approve the funding request for the following special events. April, you want me to start with it? Sure. Both of these passed the Special Events Committee. Kite Fest request is more expensive than last year, but that's for a variety of reasons. Mr. Doan is here to answer any questions if any should come up. BonsaiCon requested $50,000.
Correct.
And the Special Events Committee felt more comfortable at a $10,000 investment for marketing only. BonsaiCon also has already paid in full for the convention center for that event taking place in October. They have shown skin in the game. They're very enthusiastic, and they were grateful for the $10,000 to be used to market their. Essentially, you can call it a convention, if you will.
It is. Mhm.
Are there any questions for April about these events, or is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much, April. We're trying to make your life easy. Thank you, Mr. Doan. We're looking forward to Kite Fest next year. Item 5.4, discussion and possible action to approve the McAllen Holiday Parade Float sponsorship. Lori, this one has your name on it.
This is me. So as y'all remember, we did the McAllen Parade La Vuelta Zone. Last year was approved by this board for 49.5, and it took place in December, and it was a great event. It's very successful. We received a lot more media exposure than we were expecting. So what we want to do this year is add to it with the float, and the float sponsorship is coming in at $25,000, so it'll increase the total sponsorship to McAllen for $74,900. With the float, we met, Teresa and I went to McAllen last week, and we went to their warehouse where they create these floats, and it was great for us to go and experience, because I have a different opinion, and visually, I could visually see what they do. The floats are beautiful. And we would have a float for South Padre. And the good thing with this float, we are able to take it, the McAllen team will take it for us to another parade. Let's say there's a big parade in San Antonio, actually, which is what caught my attention, and they will take it for us to San Antonio to participate in the parade in San Antonio, which is our market, you know. If we wanted to take it to Charros Day, they could take it. If we wanted to bring it to our island one, they would bring it to us.
All for an additional fee?
25,000.
No, I'm talking about in that 25,000, they make us the float, and we're in the parade, and wherever other parade we want to be a part of, that's included.
There's three, and the fees, we're gonna cap it. We talked about, and Karina and I and Mr. Vera spoke, it's $2,500 for that transportation fee.
That's my question. Each one?
Each, but we'll cap it at 3 shows.
Okay.
Co-op opportunities. If there was a partner that would like to have their logo or some kind of imagery on the float.
Sure.
Is that?
I'm open
Is
to
the CV, okay, so you're open to it?
Yeah, I mean, it'll help reduce our costs, you know.
Yes.
You know.
And we may have some partners here that may be very interested in that. Nope, Teresa says no. No?
Oh, Karina's here from McAllen. Maybe ask her. Maybe I
Yes.
overspoke.
Thank you. If you could introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Karina Jimenez, the Deputy Director of Programs for the McAllen Parks and Recreation Department. Yes, we were very happy to have Teresa and Lori join us at our float studio. We're always excited to show off what our team produces out of that facility. In terms of any third party or additional branding on the float, that would be something that we would have to discuss above and beyond the proposed amount. The branding opportunity is for the South Padre Island as the city.
Okay.
So I guess we need to
There you go.
discuss the fee of 25,000. Let's just say we don't want to do the Vuelta Zone. Is it 25,000 just to to do the parade? I mean, to do the float?
Is it 25,000?
option?
Yes. For just the float for 25,000?
Just the float for 25,000. Is that an option?
But we already did the.
No, but we already did the Vuelta Zone.
3 years.
For 3 years.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be an amended contract to add the 25,000 for the float.
Okay.
Are we just discussing the float?
Yes.
Today. Okay.
Sorry. Okay.
I got some questions about the float in terms of branding that you just
course.
mentioned, of course. I'm looking at the float right there and the potential drafts that are there. And to me, this is a great opportunity to be able to define a brand again, and I talk about that a lot. Thank you very much for listening to me. To me, on the float, we need probably something more about fishing, maybe even, we got everything else there. We got some birds and others, those things which represent what we are. Can we also put SpaceX on there?
Be in line with the additional branding and third-party discussion that we kind of had in terms of adding a separate brand. That would be a separate discussion in terms of the investment amount that would
Maybe not
be
SpaceX, but you
associated
put a
with that.
rocket on there.
Generic rocket.
Maybe even a generic rocket or something.
And
on
we
there.
can, so the float examples that are in your packet here are not set in stone. These are just
No.
ideas. We can change it however.
Extra packet.
Let's not do design by committee. We all should know better than that.
No, all I'm suggesting, I agree. All I'm suggesting here is this is a great brand opportunity to look at brand association with what we're doing out here, and we need to keep that in mind as that's.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. And I think some of the ideas that we brought back and talked to the team about, first thing for me was the monument sign, fireworks, fishing. Like I have all these things.
Well,
that I
that's
wanna
our problem is that we have so much to offer.
Right.
What do we?
Right, and we have a size of the float. It's not the train that they have.
I see a sandcastle on it. Is the sandcastle real? Are we sending you one of our sandcastle sculptures to
We actually would construct the sandcastle out of various materials, foam. It's carved by our team, and what we've integrated into our float building recently is more of a hard coat shell versus, paper mache or paper, which is much more. It carries a much longer life. In terms of the traveling aspect of this float specifically, the construction and design of it would be built to where some of those would come down and we could close up the float, just for traveling purposes, of course, and making sure that, extending the life of the float itself. So it's a sandcastle that looks just like a sandcastle, but it wouldn't actually be sand.
Okay.
Motion to approve the funding for the float.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
A second.
Okay. Discussion?
I'd just like to add a point on this. You're here, one of my issues when these events come up is it's kind of, or sponsorship opportunity on particular events is we sort of get a sponsorship or advertising deal, and then each year there's an add-on, and there's more and more. I kind of question next year, is it going to be, we're going to fly airplanes, let out fireworks too with South Padre in the air?
Sounds awesome.
Where does it end though? I mean, at the end of the day, this is in McAllen, and we're soliciting people from McAllen to come to South Padre, right?
I have a question off of your comment.
Like, this is fine, but
right. Teresa, is this something that you think is a responsible spend for the destination to market South Padre Island to the McAllen area and the San Antonio market? What are the other, there's two markets?
Three.
The Charro Days.
Okay, yep.
San Antonio, and then also if we want to have it here at one of our events. The thing is.
Livestock show.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's right. And then also, just remember, this was brought up because whenever we had the La Vuelta Zone, the board expressed the interest on having a float also included into the next year. I think that the exposure is good. The number of people that are at the parade, watching the parade all over the United States because they televise it, and the branding of South Padre Island, it was tremendous last year. And just adding this new element, I see it as something good that we can invest if we also want to take it to other places.
Well, just, I don't know if you recall, when they came in to give the presentation, the zone is only one area.
Right.
And one of the discussions that we actually spoke about was having a float because it went throughout the entire, it was advertising.
Only those people that are on a float
Right.
sit there and see the Vuelta.
So, right, and I mean, as it is, I mean, we spend a lot already as far as doing digital advertising in the RGV. I mean, this just kind of adds to it. And I agree with what you're saying as far as, next year they're going to come with something. But I mean, I think if this is one of our bigger clients that come down, I mean.
More of a thank you.
Right, I think it's, and I think it gives us just that much more exposure, like, hey, the island is involved with the Upper Valley, we do care. And
personally, I'd vote for it. I guess my point is as you come next year, I just know this is coming next year. Oh, by the way, we thought of this as well. Is it another thank you? Do we give them 100,000 in thank yous for advertising with them?
So what's the contract?
We spent $100,000 on Facebook ads on September weekend. See what I'm kind of saying? Where
Yes,
I'm going
sir.
with this?
Yes, sir.
It's going to sell rooms. We're jobs to sell rooms, right? And it's branding. I get it. It's lots of branding, but it's sell some rooms too, right?
I agree with you. The one thing I would add is at least we're getting something additional. It's not like they're coming back saying, well, guess what? It was so successful. Now, instead of the Vuelta Zone being 50,000, it's now 120. I mean, we're getting something more for
More money.
Remember also, and just to think about the aspect, again, where I support it in the sense is that we can take this float and go to San Antonio
And we brought up, is this multi-year? Is this a 1 year?
3 years.
Or 3 years.
3 years. And then also as a
$75,000. Right.
As a bonus, last year we got the big balloon, the turtle, the sea turtle. How much is that in sponsorship usually?
Typically, a balloon sponsorship starts at $15,000. So that was an added fulfillment that we thought was appropriate based on your presence as the South Padre Island Vuelta Zone. So we definitely did that as an added value for the new partnership. We wanted to make sure that you all were successful in addition to the press conference that we dedicated here. And on top of that, the inclusion in our logo lock, which is the event brand that is typically for the presenting sponsor and our top sponsors. What we did was integrate the South Padre Island logo into that logo lock, which was also not something that was part of the proposal. It's really important for us, not just with this partnership, but with all of our sponsors, to make sure that you are getting that return on investment. I think that the float definitely would add that value. But of course, all of that base partnership that we had last year has not been adjusted and will continue to be that same $49,900 for the 3 years.
Thank you.
On parades I've went to is the throwouts. Like, are we gonna have this thing loaded down with candy, or are we just rolling a dry float through? I'm serious. Like, if I go to parade with my kids, like whatever one, that's one you remember.
So
Well,
what
not
we-
even merchandise, like good candy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And because, as is with our parade, whether it be the holiday parade or even our Main Street Parade for Independence Day, any of these other events that we visit, Buck Days, Laredo, Fiesta Flambeau, it's kind of a rule not to do that. They'll actually
But they still
take
do.
you off of the route. So we've integrated confetti cannons, snow, things like that.
But they still do, though.
They still do. It's frowned upon, and you run the
town of
risk.
South Padre,
Yeah.
it's the same rule, and
Yeah.
the kids love those floats here because that's what they want. So I'm just curious as to, I hate to follow the rules when the other people that have same
In our-
floats break the rules.
You don't
You know, that's why. So
Experience as we visit these other parades, you know, it's a mutual respect amongst event producers,
Sure.
number one, but number two, you do run the risk of not being invited back to the event. And, you know, of course, this is a great opportunity for visibility of brand, and we wouldn't want to risk that.
The people on the float, Teresa, this is something we do in-house. We coordinate volunteers to
Yes.
participate,
And we
and that's the burden and it falls on us, correct?
we're still in discussion, is that correct? 'Cause you have a
Sir,
motion.
we're in discussion.
My only question is, on the packet, the 25,000 says there's an additional $5,000 per parade.
That would be the cap. That's what we talked
That's the
about.
maximum. So the only one we'd be looking for that would be the Fiesta Flambeau. Those others that we mentioned, whether it's Livestock Show,
San
Buck
Antonio.
Days, even Laredo, South Padre Island, or Charro Days, those would be at that 2,500.
Okay, so there's, what, the 5,000 is for which parade?
Fiesta Flambeau in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
It's travel expenses sounds like.
Make sure that I was on the same page when I was reading this, so.
You talk about a very important point. We will need volunteers to be part of and be on the float.
Chantel's all available.
Yeah, Teresa, I mean, this is new. We haven't done this before.
That's margaritas.
And it's going to burden ultimately will fall upon you to make sure that this was a good investment, that you're satisfied with what this organization is providing you.
Yes.
And you'll come back to us and let us know if there's something that you want us to get out of or not. How we're going to manage it in the years to come. So, okay. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it. Have a great day.
We had bad weather. Well, I guess you did too, but hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, I'm actually going to spend the rest of my day at the pavilion with 100 of our senior participants from our community centers.
Oh.
We're having our monthly trip, and South Padre Island was on tap for this year. This month.
Wonderful.
So I'm
Thank you.
Super excited to head over there. Thanks.
It's working out great. Okay, we'll be moving to discussion of possible action to approve a reimbursement to Isla Grande for fireworks expenses for South Padre Island Gulf area, south side, and request a budget amendment to City Council from excess reserves. Mr. Salazar will be presenting this item. He is abstaining from this item because of his relationship with Isla Grande. The rest of us will be taking action on this if you choose to do so. If anyone chooses to abstain, now's the time to say it. All right. Mr. Salazar, could you please?
So last year, we started with the fact of wanting to add fireworks on the southern end of the island, on the beach, which we had to go through the GLO, get it to the shoreline, worked with Island Pyros, which Mark is here in the back, and to get this all approved. It got approved, went to City Council, and since City Council was funding for the holiday fireworks shows, Memorial, 4th of July, and Labor Day, we had asked for the same thing, same sponsorship dollars that was being given for the Bayside shows to be given on the Gulf side shows. The argument was, of course, the Bayside shows, when the fireworks are over, they leave Clayton's, they leave the Bayside bar area. What happens as far as traffic when the fireworks are over? Everybody's leaving the island. Fireworks are over, thank you, we all leave. The whole concept behind the fireworks on the Gulf side, on the south side, was you're talking about all the majority of condominiums and hotels on that side and having a fireworks show. So the council approved for us to receive sponsorship dollars from Special Events Committee, CVB, dollars last year through, what was our previous CVB director's name? Ed. Somehow Ed, and through all this traffic, Isla Grande and the South End, we committed our end. City Council had approved us to receive the dollars, and we never received 1 penny, even though City Council had approved it for CVB to give us money to reimburse. So we made the shows larger. So we still paid our dollars and made the shows larger, and we were never reimbursed 1 penny. So this year, what we're asking for is, we were gonna do a larger show, move it onto the barge, onto the water, and have other hotels participate. The Pearl Beach Resort, La Copa, and myself, different people, much larger show equivalent to the size of the fireworks that the Bayside has, since we're not as close to the shoreline. Now, there's some difficulties with different hotels coming up with the same dollars, so we can divide this by 4 hotels and stuff. So therefore, some hotels are still working on that. So either way, I'm back to still going to do the fireworks show behind Isla Grande on the south side, since we're the only area that has the beach capability. It's not so much because I want it behind myself, it's on the south side. We have the only beach space from seawall to shoreline for the firework diameter, radius, shall I say. So therefore, either way, what's being asked is the same sponsorship dollars that's being given for the Bayside for the holiday shows, to have the same thing going on the beach side for the holiday shows. We're too late to even get Memorial Day started, first off. That's already too late. So now we're looking at only 4th of July and Labor Day on the fireworks. So therefore, that's what this discussion is. And also to keep a note that last year, Special Events, CVB, City Council, all approved for those 3 holiday shows. We doubled up to make a larger show on those 3 holiday shows based on the fact that City Council had already said yes for Ed to fund us the money. Not 1 penny was ever refunded back to us. So we ate all of that. And now we're back to this again. So therefore, we're asking if we can sit there and get the holiday shows to be larger than the normal shows that we do. So that's what's.
Okay, so this year you're asking us to reimburse you for the 4th of July show and the Labor Day show for this season?
That's correct.
2 shows. And Lori, we're currently have $80,000 budgeted for, I know historically it's 3 shows, but we kind of move it around sometimes because of weather. But it's $80,000 that's been budgeted. Do we always spend $80,000 a year on fireworks, or does that change sometimes?
So the current budget is $100,000 for fireworks.
okay.
Yeah, so it's the 3 shows that we have already contracted through the RFP process.
Right.
To include, I believe it was the boat parade. That's why it went up a little bit.
Okay. And, all right. And that's out of special events budget.
Correct.
Does special events have, let's call it $40,000. Is there $40,000 left remaining in the special events budget for this fiscal year?
That's an April question.
Do you have 40,000?
Oh, that's right. We did,
Okay.
remember we had Spartan and it didn't happen, so we had pulled some money from excess.
I know the agenda item reads to go to city council from excess reserves, but is that necessary if we already have the cash?
If we have it within the budget, I would just need to do a budget transfer to cover the expenses for the reimbursement. I don't have to go to council.
Okay, I'm a little confused on this, because the item reads reimbursement, that's number one.
Right.
But why is it reimbursement if it was already approved, and why does we have to do something with that at this point? If it was
So
already
it wasn't approved for the south side, yeah.
But it was already approved. Last year's was already approved, yes. Last year's whole show went to council. They approved it for the 3 shows.
Okay, so that's the first thing you're asking for is reimbursement,
And
or some sort of, or payment at least.
He's not asking for money from last year. Is that correct?
I'm not even asking. That's
From last year.
So reimbursement is not an issue.
Moving forward, he's going to pay them.
I just wanted to let the board know what had happened and what transpired.
Okay.
City council approved it, said, yes, let's give them some money. South side, it's the Gulf, it's for the hoteliers. There'd be no traffic, stay in their balconies, watch the fireworks show.
So you're looking at 2 shows.
Now, since.
2 shows, and what's the dollar amount you're asking for?
10,000 each show.
10,000 each show. Okay.
Okay, and that's off the barge?
No, that's gonna be right behind our property.
Okay, so you're not going to do the barge?
Well, we're waiting for other hotels to
So you,
come up with
okay.
more dollars.
If you can increase the,
By all means.
if you can do it, you will do it.
Oh, yes,
Otherwise, it'll just be on your beach.
on the shoreline, what we've done.
Okay.
So we have all the diagrams, and we've been approved to do the barge, and Mark's ready to go to do the barge, but the problem is I can't eat every week the price
You're only asking for $20,000.
for 2 shows.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this weekly, though.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve $20,000 to go to Isla Grande for 2 shows.
I'll second.
I'd like, real quick on that, I think we should reimburse them for the last year's show. I don't understand why that slipped down.
I'm just saying, people got paid, but again, I just wanted to let y'all know that city council all came to me and said, why were you not given?
Or let me ask
Mr.
you,
Metters?
Mr. Metters?
Yeah, you voted for 3 shows.
Okay.
so let me just ask, instead of, unless they want the reimbursement, is it something that they can get additional funds to have additional shows, like going forward? Or is that?
Well, Daniel, are you asking for reimbursement from last year, or are you waiting just to move on and
Well,
move forward?
By all means, of course, reimbursement. I mean, it's wrong for the city to sit there and go through the whole process, get approved, said yes, and Ed, and the whole process, never
Okay.
give us the money, number one.
That's my point.
And number 2 is I'm asking for here for this future going on, like I'm trying to sit there and supply hotel paying customers that are on their balconies. I'm not going to Saida, I'm not going to Sapphire, I'm not going to anybody else.
Okay.
Every week out of my pocket, we're doing a fireworks show.
All right, well, there's a motion on the table first.
All right. Now, Lori, Mr. Salazar's comment about reimbursement from last year, is that something that this board even takes action on? That's
No.
something that
It
will
would
be
be done
discussed internally or through city
internally
council?
with our CFO, correct.
So there's that. So let's moving forward, there's a motion and a second for the $20,000 investment for 2 holiday fireworks shows to reimburse Isla Grande. They're going to do all the work and the contract and liability on that end. Okay, is there any more discussion?
Now, was there a question of 2 shows or 3 shows?
2.
It's
This year's only gonna be 2. Dude,
too late now for Memorial.
that's correct. Is that correct, Mark?
Okay. All right.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Discussion and possible action to approve a date for the 4th of July fireworks show in 2022.
July.
Where does the 4th land on this year?
On a Monday,
Okay, normally we've done Sundays.
correct.
Everybody okay with that? 9:15,
I was gonna say,
Sunday. 4th of July is on a Monday.
I think hotel stays. Let's think about hotel stays. That no one's gonna work the 4th of July, first off,
Yeah, no, they're not.
right?
I mean, the reservations primarily are gonna be until the 5th or 6th.
Okay,
So I would think doing it on the 4th.
If you do the 4th, you're making the people stay the night of the 4th, and they're staying the weekend already. I'm thinking from the hospitality hotel side. Tom,
Yeah.
Do you, what's your feeling on it? I mean, rooms wise? I mean, I think if we do it on the 3rd, you give the people the option on the 4th to go home.
I don't have any problem with it either way, because, yeah, they're coming for a 3 or 4 day period of time at that point, so what night it is really doesn't matter.
Do any of us recall why we've been doing it? Oh, April?
It's always been on 4th of July because it's been on a Friday.
Because it's the 4th of July.
Sunday. This year just happens to fall on a Monday. So it's
Okay.
never an issue.
Great.
So bottom line, we need to keep it the same. It's always on the 4th.
Right.
It's the 4th. Well, first off, you know what? On
Christmas on
TV,
22nd.
all over the United States of America, no matter what day it lands on, the 4th of July is Independence Day. That's fireworks.
I make a motion to approve, set the date for the 4th of July fireworks on Monday, July 4th, 2022 at 9:15.
July fireworks.
I'll
on the
second.
4th.
All in, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay.
I was.
Chad, one. Lynette, I have a kind of a weird one for you. Our new director begins late June. Gentlemen, maybe you have some comments on this. Do we want to meet before his start date or just wait? Or does it matter? Or, Lori, maybe you have some items you need us to take action on? I don't know.
Meeting.
No, this is our regular meeting. Our regular meeting, but
Okay.
Do June 29?
When does he start?
No, not the 29th.
well, it's just I don't want to.
Not the 29th.
A whole lot real fast.
I'd like to have him have a few weeks meeting the staff in particular before he's.
So then let's just leave it at 22nd.
For sure after the 4th of July.
It's up to you. Why don't you guys find out if we need a meeting in June? April does.
What do you mean?
June meeting.
We still have to have a meeting in June.
June meeting.
Okay, do it same date.
Just keep it the same, the 22nd.
Second.
Maybe he can watch virtually. Maybe we can watch virtually.
Meeting before he starts.
Yeah.
Great?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Make sure you leave the tablets behind, right? Before I can put them on eBay. eBay.